everybody. So, this is a recap on the Gans video that I made, the copper Gans production, and something happened. It was kind of weird. It was this beautiful aqua, like, it was basically this color right here. Focus on that. It was that color right there when it was being made. But then, a few hours later, I come out and check on it, and it created this dark brown Gans. And I don't know what it is exactly. I'm trying to reach out to some people who work with stuff to see exactly what happened, if something bad happened, or if this was just what needed to happen. But I had this weird thought. I was, because my mission is to really just kind of find the how. I guess I'm just curious about the beginning of time. When God spoke everything into existence, we know the world was covered in water. And we know that his frequency in his voice helped to create the molecular structure of substance, of matter in our world. And here I just got a little thing, a little study on hedge of protection. You can see, there was a reason, frankincense, myrrh, gold, a list of stones from the Old Testament. There's, I've got a list of things, need to figure out how the chemistry of creation, how did the frequency at which God spoke in the beginning have the determined effect on the atoms he created? As in, how did he get them to bond and stay in harmony? I believe that we as a society are very much out of harmony. We're not in harmony right now. Oh, thank God. And I'm learning Hebrew. I'm trying to learn Hebrew right now. They say that I probably won't learn very much of it. Anyways, here's a collection of some of the crystals that I found in my backyard here. I was just, one day, except for this one. This one I showed you. This is the one my dad found in Pennsylvania. No telling where it came from. I don't know exactly where it came from, but it is just the coolest. And like I say, whenever you put it together, it almost looks like an acorn. And this is really hard to do one-handed. Oh my gosh, I can't wait until I get all my equipment back. And anyways, it almost looked like an acorn. It's not gonna stay. Sorry. My dad broke it open because he wanted to see what was inside of it. And, a lot of people no, you shouldn't have done that. You should have just left it. But, curiosity does get the better of us sometimes. Will it stay? No, it will not stay. Anyways, I'll do more focus on the crystals later in another video. This is quartz crystals. Beautiful stuff. This is a big one, and I've got the equipment up there to work on trying to harvest some of these crystals out of here, but at the same time I kind of just want to leave it alone. And this one is just, it's amazing. It's really heavy. And I don't want to break a lot of it off, but there's some good pieces to it, and that's where I get a lot of the let's see, you can see the crystals in there, and you can see I've been working on it, but I'm scared because I don't want to damage the crystals, so I'm trying to find the right way to do it. And I've got a piece of quartz crystal in here in this strainer, and I just put it in there, kind of seeing what happens. Like I say, it's all experiments. I've also got a piece of crystal in this, and we're going to shake this one up. Let's shake it up and watch by the end of the video, we'll see what happens. So notice how it's just dirty brown. It just looks like muddy water. And then of course this is just an experiment that I did a long time ago, and I've just been letting it sit, and I've just been letting the copper sit in it. And this is my mixture of a stone, a crystal stone. I don't think it's white, or I don't think it's quartz crystal. I don't know what kind of stone it is. I'm also learning, some geology. I'm going to be studying up on that. And shake it up too. We'll set these together, watch how they settle out, and eventually it will become super clean, clear water. And I have found that they say you can drink that water. I don't trust it, but they say if you rinse it and everything. There's a guy, I'm not going to give his name because I don't really know much about him, and I'm not trying to promote him in any way, shape, or form. This is, like I say, all experimentation on my own part. I'm doing this based on my own head. Just wanted to run through a few things and see. This is how I have to live my life. When you're somebody like me who's experienced extreme trauma throughout life, as a CSA victim, you kind of tend to you things happen, and I struggle on a daily basis. And then as I grew up, I was a little more careless than most people. I had a death wish. I didn't really want to live. And I struggled with suicide at a very young age, starting at 8, and so that once I got past the suicide, then I became reckless. I just didn't care. Like I as fast as I could go in cars, I didn't care. And I got into a dirt bike accident and a football accident, and it left me with a short-term memory problem. So you can already see that one settling, but it's just really amazing stuff, guys. This one is it's just pure copper, copper Gans. Let's see if I can get it. It's just beautiful. I mean, just the way it flows. And I'm looking at getting some resin, some acrylic resin, and creating spheres, hollow spheres, and putting this stuff inside. But again, my goal here and why I'm making these videos right now is because I'm hoping that I find somebody out there. I'm hoping that somebody will see this and say, you know what, I'm an electronics engineer. I want to build a device that I can set down beside it, and I can register and see if the claims are true that this stuff puts off energy. They say that it puts off energy up to 36 feet away. People are selling vials like this online, saying it's got healing powers. Now, I'm skeptic. I'm a skeptic in all that stuff. And my main mission with this is to work with the way that God started this planet, And, all jokes aside, flat Earth, globular Earth, I don't really care. I've never been to space. I've never been up high enough to see, so I'm not going to comment on any of that. It doesn't really matter to me anyways. And so, in all reality, just it is what it is. And I think I showed this in another video. I don't remember if I did or not, but I drew this, and I'm sure somebody out there is gonna be like, "How dare you desecrate the Bible?" But I just this was when we found out my wife was pregnant. We tried to create life, and we asked God for our blessings, or for His blessings, and she became pregnant. And so one night when we were sitting there, I was just doodling around and just getting into the Bible, and so I put my fingerprint, but it smudged. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so I added, the sides here. I added the sides here and here, and then added the little birds. But all this in the center is my actual fingerprint. It just smudged, but I was like, wow, that looks like a ship on a sea, you know, kind of being blasted around. And then I added my fingerprint, you know, and like I say, I'm not well versed in biblical scripture at all. You know, I grew up, majority of my life, I was atheist, hardcore atheist. Like, I actually tried to use science to prove God didn't exist. So here we are, and I'm trying to use science to to prove to figure out how God created the earth, because like I say, it's all about frequencies and his spoken word. There's power in his words. So when he said let there be light, the light came on. Ding 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 ding. So that's what, you know, that's what I'm going with here. And I'm just, like I say, I'm just hoping that somebody out there is capable of coming to me and saying, hey man, I'd like to be part of this project. And you know, I'm working on things. If you guys, anybody out there wants to donate anything to me, feel free, man. Ask, because I'm not ashamed at all to say I need some help. I'm a full-time father and caretaker of my wife. We have our stepson, you know, 50% of the time. But it does get rough. You know, I can't work because I've got to be here, and because of the current state of the world. You know, my daughter's 3 years old, and I've been her caretaker for 3 years, and I refuse to let her. Right around the time she was born is right around the time whenever all the crazy stuff started coming out about Pizzagate and all that stuff. And I'm not going to get into any of that either. I just don't want to. I did for a little while, you know, and I decided that it's not for me. It's too much. It sent me on a very, very, very dark path. My night terrors became more uh, just, they increased once I started researching all that stuff. And of course it's going to. You know, for 3 years, from the age of 3 to 6, I was tortured in the basement by a family. There were foster parents who had two adopted children, and they forced their children onto me for 3 years. You know, until they tried it on my brother, and then I decided to run. And so I've always been on the run from everything. And now I'm just this right here. It's just for my stepson's science fair project. This is what got me all into it. Is this science fair project we built at Tesla Coil. And if you look on my channel, you can see that I've made a video, just a little, you know, messing around with this Filmora thing. This right here is what I hope to take that right there, that jungle gym thing, and I'm going to put it back there, and I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to open it up to where we can go inside, and I'm going to use this stuff right here. If I can find, you know, once I find the energy that it puts out, and then I've got placemats for me and my family to sit where we can pray, and you know, we can try to get rid of that black fog that the world produces. It's just disgusting. So, you know, it's like a sweat lodge, you know, like a prayer room is what I'm kind of making. And, you know, I'll use this as to heat up the water and create a steam. And they also say that this, whenever you're running the procedure to create the Gans, it also creates ozone on certain types of metals and whatnot. Let's check back into this. This is it's clearing out pretty good. It should be, you know, I mean, it takes a little bit, but that water will become just clear, 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 clear once it all settles down. That shows, you know, that even those little tiniest of particles in there are heavier than water, and they fall, you know. And I'm also a believer in magnetism over gravity. I believe that gravity is just a byproduct of magnetism. So we'll go through that. I'm just trying to share a little bit of my ideas here, and this is kind of my this is how I make my Gans. How to make Gans. If anybody, I'll try to get it good enough to where you can pause it, and I don't know, you might not be able to read it. It's kind of wish, you know, I'm left-handed, so I write crazy anyways. and then comparing it with CBD and THC, that's just my own personal thing. But colloidal silver, making colloidal silver, VPA 82 is supposed to be a frequency number that if you write it on your glass, it's said to give um, energy back to the water and help it with its memory. The water's been proven to have memory, and there's the rice experiment where you can put rice in water, and you take one jar, you yell at it, and you say mean, hateful things to it. One you completely ignore, and the other one you praise, and you say kind words to it. And you will see a dramatic effect in the one that you curse versus the one, even the one you ignore will have a bad effect, but not as bad as the one that you curse at. The one that you curse at will completely turn black, and then the one that you speak loving, kind words to will turn into a nice rice wine. So there is power. Like, think about it. When the story about Jesus turning water into wine, what did he use? He used his voice to turn the water into wine, and he was doing it out of love. So there's something there. And like I say, I'm not well versed in biblical scripture, so forgive me. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm some kind of preacher person, Also, this right here is just kind of an idea about my idea of how it worked, how God did it. So, like, the water was there, and then the elements started forming, and as the water evaporated and receded, it goes back in, and you'll get it as time goes on. As I start, figuring more things out, these are just little things that I think about. But I mean, it's something to think about. All these elements, gold, silver, certain stones, bronze, all these elements inside becoming solid, and I don't know. I'm trying to make this a quick video and just run through it. Here's another. Get rid of this one right here because this is transparent. Anyways, this is gonna be my HHO torch and generator. Basically, this is what I'm gonna use to create the HHO gas, and also I'm gonna be using it as an ozone generator. And then this is just I don't know what this is really, just a drawing that I did. Um, Kind of, a long time ago before I became a Christian, I was getting tattoos and I was wanting to make my whole body biomechanical. And once I became a Christian and started learning about the agendas that the elite have for us, I realized that that's exactly what they want us to become. They want us to become flesh robots, and they want to take the whole term slavery to a whole new level and enslave the entire world. And that's why I believe they're dividing us now. The majority of my friends are Hispanic and African American, so I don't want to hear none of it. Like, there's no place for racism on this planet whatsoever. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you say. You know, God says love everybody, and the two rules that I think are the best rules to follow, which God says are the only two rules you really need, is love your neighbor like yourself and love God with all your heart. Those two rules, if you follow, everything else will fall into place. And my neighbor here to my on my left side, it was a lesbian couple, and in the beginning when I first moved here, um, moved in with my wife, we did not get along. Me and the head of the household over there did not get along. She just did not like me at all. I remember asking her for a cigarette and asking her all this stuff. But then over the course of the 5 years that I've been here, we've become friends. And now when I mow my yard, I just go ahead and mow her front yard, and she's very nice, and she realized that I'm not a bad person. I wasn't here to condemn her. It doesn't matter if I'm Christian or not. Like, my free will does not impede on her free will, and I refuse to think that I can use my religion inside to bash over the head of somebody else. I'm not going to do it. I don't care who you are. You're never going to tell me that my religion supersedes her free will over there. God gave us all free will, all of us, every single one of us. So if you're using your spirituality to bash somebody over the head because they're not living the way that you would live, or that biblically speaking says to live, you are a piece of crap. You're a piece of garbage, and you're using your religion in the wrong way. Your religion, like this Bible right here, the biblical text inside there is for me and for me alone. And it's just like, it's for my wife and for my wife alone. It is for my daughter and for my daughter alone. It is for you and you alone. You take it and you use it to you. And whenever it says preach the good word to those in all of the world, I don't think that means go out and slap people around, because all it's done, and it's proven, all it's done is it's pushed people away. It's made people hate God, and that's exactly where I was whenever they tried to push it down my throat. Anyways, this is a mind map, and you can pause it, look over it. It's just stupid thing. And all I did is for 2020, this is back in 2019, before all the chaos happened. I was, and you'll notice little things like that looks like a pentagram, and it wasn't intentional. None of that is intentional. I just put things where I thought, like they were laid out in my mind, and then I drew lines to everything to see what needs to be done here, to go here, to go here, and it was all to become healthy. So I don't want to hear nothing. I noticed that after I did it, I was like, oh man, somebody, if somebody sees this, they're probably going to say that's a pentagram. But whatever, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say, and die. If I do certain things, I will die. But live, and my art, I just doodle. So I don't want to hear it. Whatever. Nobody's gonna condemn me but God. If I'm going to hell, you're not gonna be the one to send me there. It's God. And what I need to do, and this was kind of just one of those things where I put down, get work, do this, and because whenever I first started this adventure, to be a fully functionable thing, I said this is what I itemized everything out. It's about $150,000. That's expensive, but that included my own house, to where I can have my own garage, and all that stuff. There's a few other things in it that really don't apply to the science project I'm doing here, but nonetheless. And then I did this, and it's just kind of a weekly map, and and really it was all just it's for fun, but at the same time it looks like chaos, but that's what life is. Life is chaos, and if we can sort through all this chaos, we can figure it out. I'm still struggling. Even to today, I still struggle. Here was my rough draft of the Tesla coil. I used a guy on YouTube, the Plasma channel. I used his design on this, and then I just kind of drew some things. I didn't finish it, but and it really made me sad that he didn't get the award that we thought he was going to get. And the reason why, I think, is because it was too well done. He's in the fourth grade, so I think that they thought, oh well, he didn't really do any of this work. It was all done for him, and so he got a 100 on the deal, but he wasn't chosen to go take it to the museum. And I was kind of disappointed, because I think those kids would have really loved it at the museum, because I made it interactive. It was interactive where the kids could actually mess with it and stuff. So, but anyways, that's this, that's that. Let's check in on this. It's clearing up quite a bit. So, and this one's it's still foggy, but you know. Anyways, I'm just gonna say this. If anybody is listening, you know, you God puts it on your heart, and you want to help me out, you can, like money and all that stuff. I don't have any kind of bank account. I don't have any kind of online banking or anything like that. No PayPal, no nothing. I'm not going to do that stuff. You know, like if you're like, hey man, what is there anything you need? You know, I've got a list of things that I need on Amazon or anywhere that can, you know, be shipped directly to me. So that's the way I do. I don't need money. Money is not what I'm looking for, but there are things that I do need, you know, like a microscope. I definitely need a microscope because I want to look at this stuff on a molecular level. And I definitely want to do that water test with the, you know, freezing of water and speaking bad to it and then freezing it and seeing what the frozen water looks like versus speaking positive to it, and then seeing if I can if the memory of the water, the first snowflake versus the second snowflake, if I can get it to go back to its original form. So, and it's all been done, you know. I mean, people have done this stuff, but I've got to do it myself, and I'm on to a different thing. Like I want to try to figure out the the beginning, you know, like everybody uses the Big Bang, says there's this Big Bang and that's how this happened. You know, of course I don't believe that. So, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm 10 minutes past the time that I wanted to really set for these videos. I don't want to set long videos because, you know, even I get bored with watching people's long videos. I got too much stuff to do, and I know you do too. So, God bless. Stay peaceful, and you know, the things that are going on in this world, just know that you're part of it. You are a part of it. Everything you do, everything that we all do, affects this world and the world around us. So, be kind to our neighbors. Be kind to your neighbors. And love God with all your heart. That's the key. You know, they say there's a saying that, you know, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Well, you know what? It just depends on who you're serving on your knees. I will gladly die on my knees for my King, you know, for God, for Christ. I will gladly spend my life on my knees serving my God. You know, and if you get into my past videos, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So you'll see that the road to my salvation was laced with some very, 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 very heavy hardships. So, all right, guys, peace out.